think it's live now. Okay. Silima, everyone. Today we are going to, technically the new moon's coming up. Nikki and I are going to be on the call Wednesday, and we are going to be looking at this new moon and give you the month-long forecast, give you a general summary anyways. I am going to go through here over the next few days, though, and get you an idea of what's going on. If I'm not my normal perky self, it's because I have been writing and I have been in the zone, and I don't use my voice and my mouth quite as much, so I'm not as hyped up. I've been doing these things, these astrology today things after my other readings, and so I'm all tweaked out because I'm talking about astrology and getting all hyper and whatnot. So I don't have that going on today. So I do apologize, but if you have any questions, pop them in the chat, and I'm happy to try to get you some information. Oh, let's see what we have going on here. Let me move. Please don't crash. If I disappear on you, I will be right back. It's because my StreamYard crashed, and sometimes I do that, but it's a quick fix, and I will definitely be back. All right, so let's take a look here. This program that I'm using is called Stellarium. You can download it for free at stellarium.org, and I highly recommend that you do that so that you can start getting acquainted with what's actually going on in the sky. I know a lot of software. I think, what is it? Prometheus allows you to see the actual placements of the constellations, but I I personally like to actually see the pictures, and whether that's the modern version or the Sumerian ones, I like to take a look at that. What am I doing, you guys? I am getting rid of all of these markings. There's a little bit of a learning curve on this, but it's really, once you figure it out, it's pretty straightforward. You just do your settings the first time when you get everything set up, and then you're pretty much good to go. All right, let's see. We don't probably need all of these. Do we need that? Yeah, I like the shapes, you guys. I think it's good. All right, what's going on here? Today, the sun is in Aquarius, as you can see. Definitely not. What are people saying it's in? Somewhere in Pisces. It's not in Pisces, you guys. It's not. If you don't believe me, like jump on here and look. Talk to any astronomer. Okay. I hate to have to even beat this dead horse, but people come to me, they buy readings, and I'm very clear about what I'm doing, that I do sidereal astrology, but you have no idea. At least half of the people who get readings from me don't understand that there is a difference between sidereal and tropical astrology, and that one actually uses what's really going on in the sky. And the other one, I don't know what you guys are doing out there. I mean, I hear lots of justifications for it, but I don't know. All right. Anyways, where am I going with this? So yes, I'm not quite as focused as I usually am. Sun's still here in Aquarius, and obviously that's going to be going on for a while. So when does the sun really enter Pisces? I mean, if we're using this fish head over here as our the thing that we're using to determine, it's not going to be until the first week in March. But I would say this is still arguably Aquarius energy. But we go back to today. Today's the 24th. We do have this beautiful conjunction, as you can see, with Saturn and Mercury. And if we can, let me pop this up here. Where are we at? Yeah, I want to see the horizon. Let's see if we can do this. Go back up, guy. Come on, here we go. Where are we going? No, wrong way. There we go. Yes. I don't know. Can you guys see it out there? I don't know. It's overcast, so I don't know. I would assume that people can already kind of see, or at least it's coming up. We're going to start to be able to see Mercury in the sky too. I know I have been seeing a lot of the articles about having all of the planets lined up, or like most of the planets lined up, or something like that. They're not lined up like this. Okay. They're lined up like this in a band. So that is really cool, and hopefully you're able to check that out when you get a chance. All right, so but while this is happening, now Mercury's moving pretty quickly here, so we're not going to have this for a really long time. But as you can see, the next few days, we have Mercury hovering right here around Saturn, and approaching Neptune around that same time. And we'll take a look at this in the other chart, so it's a little bit easier to see, because you can't really see Neptune on here. But especially tomorrow, this is when we have this Titus conjunction. And Saturn is not spooky. It is not the devil, despite what the internet has told you for all of these years. Saturn is success. It's very much a societal planet, but it in many ways speaks to your health and wealth, your ability to thrive here in the material world. So if you, in many ways, this does reflect your career. If you have a career which involves a lot of creativity or cognitive power, which is what we have with Mercury, just kind of pouring out of Mercury, this is your time, okay? The next few days, which is not probably great for my family because I've already been writing like a lunatic, just writing nonstop. I'm putting this course together. It's called Chakras in Astrology. And I don't have it in me to just, make some goofy course. Like it's intense. Okay. So it has to be perfect. I've basically created a Sanskrit lexicon, not on purpose, but it was necessary for the course. So, yes. So this is the type of thing where I'm going to be hyper focused, and anybody out there who also has a cognitive career path where you have to activate your brain or you do a lot of creative work, this is the time. All right. This is really, really intense. Now, one of the things that we miss in modern interpretations, Mercury was associated with the water element. Now, I'm not saying the elements in the sense of the classical elements. I'm talking about just water in general. And as such, it was all about creativity. Hi, JD. Thanks for jumping on. I watched your reading the other day. It was great. I don't know if I commented on how great it was, but it was awesome. So I'm glad you and Nikki got to connect and stuff. Yes. So again, if you write, if you are a content creator, or even if you are studying or learning, maybe you're taking a course, or you're at university or college or whatever, you're a technical school, whatever. They're really specific about that over here. If I refer to, here in Russia is where I'm at, if I refer to university as college, they get really upset. But in America, it's all just college, right? Like that's basically what's going on. But anyways, this is your time. All right. So study, learn some stuff, take that knowledge and express it in your career, communicate with people, listen. If you have a job where you have to listen right now to other people, maybe you're a coach, consultant, something along those lines. This is when, the secrets come out. But again, this is going to be more so in relation to, we can see it, the world at large, but very much in relation to career. Okay, so what's going on next? So we still have Venus up here, and yes, I'm tilting my head so I can see. We still have beautiful Venus up here in Pisces, and she's still interacting. Again, this is a really nice soft placement. So hopefully we're going to get some peace deals here soon. That was I don't know if we could call it a prediction, but I definitely think it's much more likely while Venus is swimming around up here in Pisces. Fun fact, this fish of Pisces was not actually a fish originally. It was a bird, possibly a dove or a swallow. It doesn't really matter so much because both of those birds were associated with the same goddess, either Nanshe or Nunutum, depending on what area of the world we were looking at. Either way, again, Venus, very soft, fluid in here. She's not on her, she's not wearing a beard. She's not going on a rampage, so that's great. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm going to do, we'll talk about the moon, but let me look at some of these other things. I believe Nikki told me, and I believe Nikki because she's on top of it. Nikki told me that Mars is, I think he's gone direct now. And if I recall, I have to ask her tomorrow or no, Wednesday when we jump on the call. She had mentioned that, she was having some issues, and like my stuff over the last week, I've been on fire, and I went back to like daily meditation, which I kind of have been, skipping out on. And so this demonstrates that the planets they influence everybody differently, almost completely differently, which is why we have to be very broad and give very general forecasts when we're doing something like that. Unless you know what's going on in a person's natal chart, you can't really know for certain exactly how it's going to affect you. I can tell you with absolute certainty what Mars relates to, but how it affects the individual, that's where we get the different things. So, but for the most part, like everything that I'm saying, it should relate to you somehow. Mars for Nikki, for example, does not cooperate here in Gemini. That's not an easy placement for her. When Mars went into Gemini for me, it was like smooth sailing. So, factor all this in. And if you're not familiar with your natal chart, you don't really know how that stuff's affecting you, definitely reach out to a qualified astrologer. It doesn't have to be me. Obviously, Nikki is a professional. She can do that. Michael Hartigan's really good too. And I'm sure there's some other ones out there, but get familiar with it so you can take advantage of these things. In the Mesopotamian tradition and their belief, this stuff was here for us. They specifically created the constellations so that we would be able to predict the future and have an understanding of the cosmic order. It's not just willy-nilly, somebody threw it up here and let's see what happens. It was here for you to take advantage of. Some at the very least, like 5,000 years ago, this was what they were doing. All right, so let's take a look at did I get the big plane? Yeah, I got the major planets, I think. All right, so as you can see, the moon here is currently in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the constellation of success, you guys. Anything that you work into right now, if you're putting the effort in, you're going to get the result, okay? Now, the moon moves very, very quickly. Center on the moon, center, good. Space bar, if you're using Stellarium, click it and then center. So as you can see, within hours, the moon transits each of these constellations. All right. So we have to factor this in. So this is short energy that you're taking advantage of. But when we're doing a forecast, like a day to day, the moon, or even hour to hour, the moon is a big one. This is what's going around and triggering everything. But while the moon is still in here for the rest of the day in Sagittarius, this is a time of success. Whatever you're putting the work into, like I said, you're going to get that payoff. As it goes into Capricorn, it's still a great time to pour your love and devotion and passion into anything that you're concerned about. It doesn't have to be work. It can be projects, people, loved ones, your own health and body. But this is a time for miraculous healing. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to go into it. I've talked about it ad nauseum in my other videos. But this was Tashmetu. She was the divine doctress, a goddess of healing and blessings and pretty much all wonderful things. So none of that negative stuff that you see with the modern incarnation of Capricorn. As we get to the fish side, and arguably this can already be the fish side of Capricorn, we start to pull in more of these Piscean traits. So a cool thing that was going on in Mesopotamia that I don't think they do I can't say for sure, but I don't think classical, modern, or Vedic astrology does this. So in Mesopotamia, a fish in one part of the sky overlapped in meaning with a fish in another part of the sky. Fish in general were sacred to Enki, who was featured here in Sagittarius, which also means that we have overlap with Sagittarius. Is there another fish over here that I'm not thinking? No, but we do have some water creatures. I could probably make a whole video just based on the overlapping meanings. We won't go into all of it, but another cool one is the square of Pegasus. This was the Abzu. Most likely this was the Abzu, who was in the Babylonian creation myth, Enuma Elish. He was the primordial father god. He and his consort Tiamat came together, coalesced, and kind of created all of the cosmos. He was killed, and his corpse was basically put up here in this area. Now, this word Abzu is the same meaning of the Abzu where Enki, this water fertility god, ruled over, which means that, again, this version of Abzu and this Enki are overlapping in meaning. So just another example, it's not in Mesopotamia. We don't have strict, rigid, there's nothing. And this really is a result of the classical rigid system, in the Hellenistic period. But in Mesopotamia, it's very fluid. Okay. Very, I don't know. It's very fluid. We'll put it that way for now. All right. So anyways, the moon is over here in the fish side of Capricorn. And this is going to bring in some psychic traits, definitely some of the Enki stuff as we talked about. But again, it's a good time for love and devotion, a lot of spiritual work if you do any type of ritual work. Now, during this time, we're obviously approaching the new moon. So and I highly recommend that you do try to work with the moon phases. We could make a case for the other planets. If somebody, wants to be skeptical, they're like, oh, it doesn't really affect us that much, even though, even Mars has an effect on our tides, like a measurable effect. But the moon, that one, I don't think anybody with a pulse would deny that the moon has major impacts on us. As far as just the light of the moon having an influence on us, we could say maybe not, but new moons and full moons absolutely do. We see an increase in earthquakes during these times in particular. So yes. So anyways, the moon definitely influences us. And as we get closer to the new moon, you want to take advantage of this time. It may or may not be visible in the sky already by the 26th. It's hard to say. It can depend geographically too, and like the exact time of day. But anyways, get rid of some stuff. All right. Every new moon is a time to start over. I don't know what you guys do on your new moon. We do puja every new moon and full moon. And my daughter, she just turned 8, but we call it puja party because we usually do something. We usually celebrate. We have a big, like a big feast, or we go out and do something like a big family day. And we always celebrate. So the new moons were Lord Nana in Mesopotamia. This was Nana, Lord Nana's birthday. And that is basically a little new year. Okay. I mean, it's a new month, but it has the same energetic influence, maybe more so than the actual solar new year, which we can, the Babylonians, their new year was the spring equinox. Obviously in other regions, it's the various times. Okay. It varies. So we could all pick a point, some solar point and say, yeah, this is the time of the new year. But there's really no arguing that the dark moon, the new moon, is the new month. So take advantage of this. Get rid of your old stuff, whether those are thought patterns or, actual stuff. If you need to get rid of something, maybe tie up some loose ends and just use this time to meditate. Maybe take a nice healing meditative bath, go to the sauna if you have access to something like that. If not, hot bath, hot shower works. Light some candles, burn some incense, do whatever you got to, ring some bells at yourself. I don't know, do whatever you do. But take the opportunity, and that is going to be the most, wait, moon, where'd you go? You can't do this to me, moon. You got to be right in the middle. Yes. Now this, geographically, the time that I'm using is based on, it's Egyptian Standard Time. So I don't know what this, you're going to have to figure this out for your own time zone. The actual moment of the new moon. Regardless, it's going to be probably right on the between the midday 27th and midday on the 29th. You're going to get most of this good energy. So definitely take advantage of that. And that's going to bring us to, I'm going to be on here Thursday too. So I'm going to hold off. We'll talk more about that stuff later. All right, let me switch screens real quick. Let me pop out of this one. And bring this one up. Good. That's right, Abby. Talk yourself through it. You can do it. I believe in you. Screen share. Good. Yes, there we go. All right, fantastic. Okay, so this program that I'm using, and I know I say this every time, so I apologize, but if you're new here, I just want you to be able to have access to this. This is Janus. It maybe doesn't look as pretty as some of the other fancier charts that professional astrologers use to impress their clients, but this has all the functionality that you would probably ever need. The only thing I can't figure out, and I know there's a way to do it, in the original version that I got many moons ago, there was a way to create your own house system so that you could line it up with the stars. I haven't figured it out, and generally speaking, I don't really care because I really only use this for predictive purposes, and I don't need the houses for that. I don't need to know the constellations so much, and generally speaking, I already know where the real boundaries are in all the constellations, so I guess it doesn't matter. That said, though, it's a fantastic program, and you can get a free trial. I wish I had like an affiliate link. That'd be cool. Because I recommend it to everybody. But you can get a 30-day trial at, I think it's astrology-house or something like that. But just Google Janus Astrology Software and you'll be able to find it. All right. So coming back up here. And one of the reasons I love it, can I show you right now with that? No, I'll probably mess up my screens. It'll actually run the transits around and show you in relation to these. Now I feel like I have to show people. Hold on, let me see here. Tarot Destroyer said, member, 6 months. I'm thankful for all the abundance in the universe has given me and open to receiving all abundance in all areas. Heck yes. Virtual high five, for sure. I am thankful for all the abundance. Yes. Again. Okay. Fantastic. Yes. Me too. I'm with you. So sending the love and let's let the blessings flow. I'm going to try to do this real quick. I don't know. I think it's going to make me unshare my screen though. Let me pull up a bi wheel and see if I don't crash my screen real quick. But I just want to show you why this is great. Okay, pull it back down. Good. Let's unshare and then reshare. Stop the share. Read the share. That's not English, I don't think, but let's read the share. Let's do it. Okay. This one right here. Okay, share. Good. Great. All right. Obviously, this looked kind of busy, but one of the things that's great about this is you can run it forward and you can actually see exactly what's going on in here, and it's fantastic. And I'm sure there's another program that allows you to do it, but also keep in mind at the time that I was shopping for astrology software, none of the major ones had the option for a sidereal zodiac. They were all basically you either, maybe some of them didn't even have Vedic computations. Like you had nothing. It was all just tropical. Over the last 10 to 15 years, I would say it's gotten better. And now these other programs have allowed you to be able to pull up the sidereal zodiac. But at the time there was none. Okay. And if you're wondering which Ayanams I do use Fagan Bradley. I found it to be the most accurate. It's only 1 degree off from Lahiri and Krishnamurti. So it's not that much different. All right. So anyways, going back to the other screen. Yes. Share the screen. Share the screen. This one. Good. Okay. So we're back to the 24th. All right. So that is today. And it's already nighttime here, so it's not really applying to me. But for you guys who are still over there, you're still going to get this energy probably, for the next half a day or so, well into tomorrow. You could probably still take advantage of it. But the moon here sextile with Saturn, and which is still pretty close with Neptune. What this is doing is it's pulling in some of this lunar energy into here. Now in Mesopotamia, the moon was bliss. Okay. This was all wonderful things, all light and beauty. And if we look at it from like the Hindu perspective, we're looking at, the cooling rays of the moonlight and whatnot. Maybe not Hindu. I'm generalizing again grossly, the tantric view. But this is just wonderful, good things. Okay. But what it does when it's whipping around the sky, which as you saw just a few minutes ago, it does that very, very quickly. It tends to activate these. So again, we already have some activation, we know, because of the conjunction with Mercury and Saturn, but this is just intensifying. So again, I'm sorry, my family. I know I've been neglecting you, but I have been on a rampage. I have been writing for, in some cases, 10 hours straight. Having to remind, if I didn't have to walk my dogs 3 times a day, I would be probably, I wouldn't go anywhere and I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't do anything. I would just be writing. So how this affects you, again, it's going to depend on what's going on in your natal chart. But again, creative career, or probably a lot of people in their careers anyways are going to notice that their mind is just more active. Now, this isn't great if you tend to be a workaholic and you get really sucked in and then you come home and you can't turn off. That can obviously be a bad thing, but you know what? Meditation is going to help that. So if you need help with any of that, let me know. We have a free meditation support group every Sunday via Zoom, so you're welcome to check that out. I think the information is in the video description. So, all right. So over onto the 25th, which is tomorrow, we have this beautiful perfect conjunction with the moon and Pluto. I say perfect conjunction. They're not really close in the sky. Pluto's got a kind of a wonky orbit. So, but mathematically speaking, it's in there. A great time to do any type of spiritual work. And as we approach the new moon, I can't say this enough. This is like, take advantage of this. Okay. This is here for you. This is why we're doing this, because you can tune into your own personal superpowers. Okay. Like you can do this. So meditate, do your rituals, do some pujas, do whatever you got to do. But any type of spiritual work, past life regression. If you've been waiting for a time to like reach out to an intuitive or even do some intuitive work yourself, maybe bust out your tarot cards or something, again, go for it. What else do we have going on? It's kind of around the same stuff over in the other parts of the sky. Let's go to the 26th. We still have this conjunction here with Neptune and, with Mercury and Saturn. It's just on Mercury's now on the other side. At the same time, now I have a really tight orb on this, so you don't see these lines until it's very, very close. But technically, we feel these energies, depending on how slow the planet moves, we feel them long before we actually see anything show up, at least on this chart. Some people have a really wide orb and their charts are just crazy. It's just all aspects, and it makes my eyes bleed. So I try to avoid that. But just know that the most intense energy here between this trine with Vesta is going to be on the 26th. Now, this is interesting because Vesta tends to act like a little tiny Saturn, but more personal as opposed to the societal and the career and, that type of thing. It's like a little health and wealth minor planet. Now, I say it's little, it's actually huge, okay? Vesta and Ceres are the two largest bodies in the asteroid belt. I don't know. Nikki and I talked about it before, why people use these other tiny little rocks floating in space like Chiron and Lilith, and like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. They're not big enough to have any impact on anything. And their names were all chosen at random. So all of their mythology has nothing to do with their actual impact on you as a person. Like, it's just based on myth. It's just random names that they picked and threw it on at the chunk of rock. So anyways, that's not what's going on here. I actually tracked these for like maybe 20 years, okay, at this point, to see what they do to people. But as I said, Vesta tends to act as a minor health and wealth planet, okay? Now, when we get interactions between Vesta and Mars is, again, not a bad planet, okay? It can do bad. They all have their goods and their bad stuff, okay, for the most part. The moon doesn't really have its bad stuff, but at least in the Mesopotamian system. Mars is sensitivity. It is psychic, emotional, spiritual, physical sensitivity. It's everything. When we pull this into the body, which is what's happening with this trine, it tends to become much more physically sensitive. Now this, and especially if you're, depending on where your Mars is at, this can make you way more sensitive to toxicity in your body, whether that's through alcohol, just, toxicity in the food. It can also make you more sensitive to the people around you. So if you got a bunch of negative people, that stuff can have more of an impact on you. Yes, it can possibly weaken the immune system a little bit. Now, fortunately, this isn't going to last a super long time, so we don't have to worry about it. And again, it's the most intense on the 26th. It doesn't have to be bad. One of the good ways that we can use this is by Mars can be a very intimate planet. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily mean that specifically romantically, but that's obviously a good one too. This can allow us to actually spend more physical time, be in the physical space of other people that we love and appreciate, and we can get closer to those people during this time. So it's not it's a I don't want to say double-edged sword, because that implies something is for sure happening. And again, it's going to depend on your chart, but it can go a couple of different ways. One of the negative sides to this, another one, can be stress. Sometimes Mars can become a stress planet. And in this case, it becomes stress around the body or the home or finances, which isn't fun for most people, I would imagine. We do have a perfect, beautiful conjunction with our other major asteroid, which Ceres and Vesta were minor planets up until, I think, the 60s. So they're huge. I just want to emphasize that again. The moon and Ceres together here, this is going to, Ceres tends to act like your environment, your community, the people that you're spending most of your time around. It is very social. So the moon's presence here brings out more connection to the community, to society in general. And with this connection to Mars between Vesta and Mars at the same time, this trine, this can again make you more sensitive to those people. So be sure you're only spending time with very positive people. Maybe not a good time to go out drinking with the friends or something like that, but spending some good quality time with some close loved ones and whatnot. We go up to, I mean, we're already, I mean, we can already say by the 27th, it's more so on the 28th that we have this conjunction between Neptune and Mercury. I have these both color-coded blue because they tend to operate very similarly to each other, especially when they're close together. They become like a fluid exchange of receiving information and expressing that information. And so it becomes very intellectual, very artistic, very creative, but more so in a refined way as opposed to some raw creativity that we can see sometimes with either Mars or Jupiter, giving depending on the circumstances. This close in the sky to Saturn at the time means that this definitely benefits society as a whole, but also the individual in the career. So if you have a job or something along the same lines, that's definitely going to be good for you. While this is going on, especially on the 28th, we also have the trine between the moon and Vesta, which is going to pop off, increase here over here with our Mars. We could say this is already trying to, it's just not exact again on the chart because of, should probably widen my orbits for you guys so you can see that this stuff goes longer than it normally does. I just try to make it as easy as possible for people when they're following along with me and not just having a million aspects of it. It drives me crazy. I don't know how you guys do it, other astrologers. Good, better for you, right? But anyways, this is going to intensify this intimacy, this connection to Mars and Vesta. Hopefully that works out for you and it's not a stress situation. It's not a weakened immune system and you're going to get the good benefits of the the intimacy and being close with loved ones and cool stuff like that. Let's see. LH Mary says, lots of creative energy this past week. Looks like it will continue. Yeah, for sure. Like maybe too much. The whole time Jupiter has been conjunct with Aldebaran. It's been just super, super intense for me in particular. I don't know. Again, it's different for everybody. So not to try to, push ratings or something, but, and I'm not saying get one from me, get one from any qualified astrologer, as I said before, but if you want to see how these things affect you, I actually have a program specific to people. It's pricey. So, it's not within everybody's range, namely because it's very intense. It's on my website. It is we could do 4, 6, or 8 weeks, but it's a one-on-one astrological alignment program. And basically we go through and you keep a journal of things, your little day-to-day experiences. And then we actually look when you have these moments throughout the day where you're having significant experiences and see which planets are causing those in your life. And you can actually see exactly how the planet affects you in particular. So some people, Mercury is going to be more learning. Some people, it's going to be more getting messages. Same thing, the moon, like where the moon's at. Some people really feel, certain, not so much the houses, to be honest with you, but the different signs that the moon's transiting through, like really has a big impact on people. And these aren't things that you're going to know unless you have looked at your chart individually and you're tracking this stuff. Now, you don't need me to do this. You could definitely do it yourself. It's just easier, obviously, when you have somebody to bounce ideas off of, and it's more fun, I think. But like I said, it's expensive, so I don't expect everybody to do it. It's very time consuming. We're usually on those calls for at least 2 hours. So, all right. I got to go. I got more readings, but thanks you guys for jumping on with me. I wish you the very best. We will be back I will be on with Nikki on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. We're going to be doing our new moon special. And so if you guys want to join us there, we would love to see you. And after that, I'll be back on Thursday. Just a little short, stretch here to give you a forecast for the week. And otherwise, I don't know what's going on. I never know until my schedule tells me. So, yeah, well, you guys take care of yourself out there. Thanks again, Tarot Destroyer, LH Mary, JD. Thanks you guys, Kit Kat. Thank you guys for jumping on, and we will see you next time.